I have the honor to sit down with Jim Koch, the founder and CEO of the Boston Beer Company. He's the genius behind the entire craft beer revolution. He built his company using talent as a strategy. Let's hear how he did it. Well, I'm honored to be here with someone who doesn't need an introduction, Jim Koch, the founder of Boston Beer Company and Samuel Adams, and someone who absolutely changed how brewing is done, not only in the United States, but in the world. And thank you for doing that.
Hey, I just wanted to have a good beer to drink.
No, well, you've got one. You've got a great beer to drink. So I had the opportunity to listen to an interview that you did with Guy Raz about how you built this fantastic business. And what intrigued me was the first two people that you mentioned were your master brewer, Dr. Oades, and Rhonda, who was your 23-year-old executive admin from BCG. So you immediately had a sense for talent. Like, what's your philosophy on talent and how you built this great business around people?
One of the things that I learned building Sam Adams that I didn't know from business school or even from Boston Consulting Group, nobody tells you that in business, it's all people. It's just all people. It's your customers and your own people. And the quality of your people determines the quality of your company. So, and I learned that very early, in fact, when I hired Rhonda. Okay, so here I was at Boston Consulting Group, the best of the brightest, top graduates from all these business schools, great resumes, and I was looking for a partner because a small business can be lonely, it has ups and downs, it's really nice to share that with somebody.
Right.
And I knew I had certain skills, but I knew I also didn't have other skills. So, I wanted to...
You were looking for balance of some sort.
Yeah, the complementarity. And I looked at all these people who had great resumes, great educations, very successful experience. These were people at Boston Consulting Group. And I couldn't quite see them being complementary to me because they kind of had the same skills I did, the same sort of background and experience. And then I realized, wait a minute, the person that my first hire, the person I want to start this with, doesn't have the things that come through on a resume, but she, even though she was 23 years old, she was super smart, very energetic, great with people, very motivated and driven, which wouldn't naturally, appear if you looked at her on a resume or a normal sort of interview.
Right, you were saying she used to work in a bar at night.
Yeah, and she worked in a bar at night.
Seems like a great experience for you.
As executive assistant all day. So this is a person with a super strong work ethic. So instead of the best and the brightest from the top business schools, I hired Rhonda, who was 23 years old, no college degree, but she had all of the true skills and talents. Because at the end of the day, you're not hiring experience, education, or resume. You are hiring values, motivations, and capabilities.
Right.
And that's harder to assess than just looking at a resume and say, oh, look, they went to Harvard Business School. It's like getting the USDA stamped on your ass. It's much harder to find values, motivations.
There's a framework that actually we use quite a bit called Head, Heart, Briefcase, which captures sort of your philosophy a little bit. In that the heart piece is what gets people up in the morning. What are they passionate about? The briefcase is the stuff like the USDA stamp.
Right.
But and the head is their cognitive and their behavioral.
Yeah. Rhonda had
head
and heart.
Head and heart.
But no briefcase.
So where's Rhonda now?
Rhonda went off and started her own company a few years ago. It's a distillery. It's this called Boston Harbor Distillery. It's this great distillery
That's fantastic.
on Dorchester Harbor, and she makes super whiskeys. And
Did you ever go stump for her? I mean, you were her salesperson early on.
yeah. No, we actually supply beer for her to distill, because nobody really thinks about it, but whiskey is distilled beer. You actually make an unhopped beer and then you distill it, and that's how whiskey is made.
Oh, I had no idea.
If you make really good beer and distill that, you get really good whiskey. So she's actually distilled a number of our beers.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So now as your company has scaled from 1985 when it was 2.5 of you, given the master brewer a half, now you're 1,400 people. How has your talent philosophy changed over time?
It really hasn't, and it's built on, I think, a couple of principles. One is what I just said. Look, we are hiring values, motivations, capabilities, who somebody is as a person. We can train them to do the job. There's nothing here that's that super complicated that you can't.
Are you investing heavily in learning and development?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time on training.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me because sometimes people are skeptical about it. And I remember having one of our wholesalers ask me, he said, Jim, why do you spend all this time and money on training your people when they could leave? And, it sort of makes sense when you hear it, but it doesn't really, because you have to look at the flip side, and this is what I asked him. I said, I know we spend a lot of time on training people and they can leave, but look at it this way. What if you don't spend time and money training them and they stay?
Yeah.
So,
right.
You have to continually upgrade people's skills.
So now you may have people. But when you were in your first few years, did you personally get involved with the training, or still do you stay personally involved in the training?
Yes, I was involved in it in the beginning, but I soon realized, and if you looked at my PI, I'm not like the kind of person that wants to get in front of people and wave my hands and keep them excited for 12 hours, which you need to do as a trainer. So what I do now, which I think is the most important part of the training, everybody who joins the company, with the exception of the blue collar, people at the brewery, they go through a different orientation, but everybody who joins the company, the first day, the first 2 hours they spend with me. And I go through our mission and...
First 2 hours, first day.
First 2 hours, first day, because you always remember like your first day on a job.
Absolutely.
Your second day you may not, and subsequent days you may not, but you always remember that first day. So I want the first thing they're exposed to.
And this is one-on-one.
Well, it's I do it every month. It's about 20 people. So their first 2 hours are just with me talking about mission and values. Not how do you fill out this form and that form, because when their minds are open, I want the most important training they're going to get, which is who are we as a company, what's our mission, what's our values, and how does that determine the behaviors that I want you to have.
And hearing it from you, it's unequivocal.
That's right. That's the first 2 hours, and then at the end of the day, I spend another 3 hours with them drinking. Not just drinking, but we will go through all of our products. So they'll drink 20 to 30 different things. They'll learn to taste them, evaluate them. They'll learn how to judge a good beer. So their first day is primarily, our mission, culture, and values, and our product.
Our product, yeah.
And those are the most important things that we have. And you put great products together with the right values, and in the middle is great, well-trained people, you can't fail.
Well, that's brilliant. So, what do you do when someone's not working out? You've trained them, and it's not a fit for some reason. It could be the briefcase. It could be the heart passion.
Well, we try to figure out, is this a training need, or is it a performance deficiency? If it's a training need, we can train them. But if the answer, if you said, can they do this job successfully and enjoy doing it if their life depended on it? And if the answer is no, then you just say, hey, it's been great, but you're never going to be truly happy in this job, and you spend enough time in your career and in your job that you deserve to be happy and you deserve to enjoy it. And it's probably not going to happen here, but we hired you because you're a good, talented person. You will go somewhere else and be successful. And the sooner that transition happens, the sooner you will get to something where you will enjoy it and will be successful. Because at the end of the day, if it's an issue of behaviors and motivations, you're not going to change them. They're in the wrong job. Sometimes we'll find a job within the company that's more suited.
So you'll try and move them, but if that doesn't work,
yeah, it's better that they start fresh.
Are they often happy alumni?
We have a lot of happy alumni.
Yeah, that's good.
One of them's.
I know
right
one of your
behind
alumni. There's some very, very happy alumni. Well, that's great. It's obviously working. You have superior Glassdoor ratings. Your people, both current and past. Well, my takeaway here is drown yourself in good people and a little bit of beer.
Yeah. Well, good people and good beer kind of go together.
Well, great. Cheers. Thank you so much. Really have enjoyed this.